Joe Biden leading President Trump in Arizona by 4 points, 49-45. Arizona Republican Congresswoman Debbie Lesko with us now. Your state used to be a Republican stronghold. What changed?
Maybe all those liberals moving in from California, I'm not sure. Sometimes they forget the reason they left California, I think. But you know what? I just don't believe those polls. I'm sorry. I went walking, door to door knocking on Saturday along with a bunch of volunteers. And we were hitting swing voters, people we weren't sure about. And we asked them three questions, basically. Are you voting for Donald Trump? Are you voting for Martha McSally? And since it was in my congressional district, are you voting for Debbie Lesko? And I can tell you, these people were passionate about supporting President Trump. In fact, they gave me this whole story about how they were Democrats and how the Democrat Party has gone crazy, especially with defunding police, and they're voting for Trump. So I don't see it. I think maybe what's happening is that people aren't answering the polls accurately. Or for instance, my husband was called on one of these surveys, and he wouldn't answer because he doesn't know who the survey is coming from. He doesn't know if somehow he's going to get targeted.
Sure,
and I think a lot of that is going on.
Tell me about reopening the schools. I believe you want to return to in-classroom education. But I put it to you, it's not going to happen, and you face a fight from the teachers' union. What do you say?
Oh, man, do I want an option for in-person school learning? And I think a majority of parents do too. At least that's the polling I have gotten, is that a majority of parents want the option to send their children into school. Unfortunately, the Arizona Department of Health Services has worked with the Democrat education superintendent here, and they've come up with this analysis of how you can open schools. Well, it's so difficult to reach. And so right now, schools that were going to open on August 17th now have delayed it because of these health guidelines that basically say you have to have less than 10% positivity rate. Right now, we're at 12.5% of the tests come back positive. You have to have less than 10% of hospitalization visits for 2 solid consecutive weeks. We're right now at 9%. So if next week we go to stay at 9% or less, that's good. We also have to have case decline for 2 weeks. My question is, what happens if we do this for 2 weeks and then it goes back up? Do they open the schools and then close the schools?
Sure.
This is total insanity. We need to open up the schools and give parents an option. And the interesting thing is that Governor Ducey has ordered the schools to have some kind of open place for students to go to do virtual learning, and they're thinking of partnering with Boys and Girls Clubs. So are you saying the employees of Boys and Girls Club aren't as, their lives aren't as valuable as teachers? This is just pure insanity. I want the schools open.
Okay, yeah, I take your point entirely. I think that at some point we got to bite the bullet. You got to do this thing. You can't stay remote learning forever. It's bad for the kids, bad for the parents, bad for everybody, I think. Debbie Lesko, thank you very much for joining us this morning. I could talk for hours about this, and at some point in the future we will. Thank you, Debbie. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Sure thing.